I'm Mark Brown.
It's J. Duke.
And I'm Marquay McCullough.
And this is Mark My Words.
I went through the grind of it. You're talking about somebody that was with Draymond from, I was living with him. Waking him up in the morning, driving him to practice, to in the gym to, 12 a.m. in the morning. I was a part of that whole grind.
Welcome back to Mark My Words, ladies and gentlemen. We got another great take today. Got my guy Jaquail Knox here. Juice, before we go in, man, just how you feeling? Tell me how you feeling.
Man, I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm excited to, be here with these two young brothers, man. And just a kind of correction on the name. I know it's hard. It's Jaquail Jacox-Knight. A lot of people get that messed up, but yeah. I go by the name of Juice. Yeah. Everybody in the industry know me by the name of Juice. So, yeah. But man, I'm happy that y'all invited me here to speak. On Mark My Words. I'm excited.
Yeah, so. Yeah, for sure. So, man, as we spoke earlier in the week and before the cameras got rolling, man, you're in the game, but you're out of bounds, so to speak. And with that being said, guys in your field, in your realm, whether we realize it or not, on the outside looking in, you guys have a huge impact on the game. And you don't suit up a bit. You don't dribble a ball. You're not even shooting a free throw. You feel what I'm saying? But you have a huge impact on the game. Just kind of unpack that for us.
Yeah, I think, when you look at that aspect of it, I suit up. It's just not in a uniform. You know what I mean? And how I look at that part of, being impactful to being in that world of not actually dribbling the basketball is that, you gotta come ready too.
Mm-hmm.
When I walk into those facilities every day, I look myself in the mirror before I walk in. I ask myself, am I ready to be, a part of something special? Am I ready to engage in conversations that potentially can change my life?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And when I say that, meaning that, you just never know what one conversation can lead to or what job that can, bring you. You know what I mean? And things in that nature. So in that aspect of things, that's how I look at my, impactfulness, or, how can I be impactful to, the environment that I'm in?
Right.
Maybe it's something that I can do to impact somebody else, especially when it comes to actual players, you know what I mean? So I was once a kid that used to walk in there with baggy jeans on and a t-shirt or a hoodie,
right?
But my peers always used to tell me like, yo, you want to be in this business, right? You need to come and look in a certain type of way.
Yeah. And you did that today, man. I'm gonna, just sidebar. You
no doubt. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. I try.
So speaking of conversations, man, just kind of learn about your story and how you got started in your career. Man, if you can bless our viewers, how you got going, or how conversation, so to speak, kind of got you going. Just kind of speak on that.
Yeah, I think how my journey all started, man. I was at MTSU. I was in my apartment, and I had a cousin that played professional football. I didn't really have a relationship with my cousin at the time. My dad and them had, was a part of his journey at Michigan. They went to the football games. I never, went to any of those things. And we were just on Twitter one night. He was tweeting. They was playing against the Tennessee Titans, and he tweeted, "Hey, do I have any family in Nashville?" And I just so happened to be on Twitter. I think it was at like 11:45 p.m. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm your cousin." He was like, "My cousin?" He joking around.
Right,
obviously, this is a star, a superstar at the time. And it's like, dang, he hit me back. You know what I mean? So I'm at this point, I'm spitting out all I got, because in my mind, I only got one chance to let this person know how I'm connected to him. So I just go in, man, I'm your cousin, I'm such and such son, you kin to such and such. And, I started just spitting out the names, and, I was spitting out names that he can relate to. And he was like, "Oh, I kind of remember you. You was younger though."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was like, "Oh, okay, that's what's up, man. Come by the hotel." He drops the address at the hotel. Literally, it's late. I leave Murfreesboro, go to Antioch, pick up my dad's truck, go to the hotel. We go there, we just kick it. I think it was like Saturday night because they played on Sunday. Should we go downtown? We just go kick it, you know what I mean? Hang a little bit, play a little bit. He wasn't playing on Sunday.
Right.
And man, that right there, changed my life, you know what I mean? And it led to, being in the opportunity of being able to move to Arizona, being on my first flight, getting the opportunity of a lifetime that I never thought that would come. I was in school to be an athletic trainer at the time, so I wanted to be around sports. And I told him that, You know, he was making introductions to the Pittsburgh Steelers to me, you know, to their training staff. And, you know, something just ticked like, all right, do I really want to go this route or do I want to go in a different route? And so, man, that's kind of how my journey started. And the connection from there, it turned into he had a connection with, you know, Draymond.
Right.
You know what I mean? And as I was working with him for the last, you know, 3 years prior to me being in the business for 8 years now, you know, he turned me on to Dre, you know, and Dre would always come down to the house and hang. And he was like, yo, you know, once I retire, you know, I'm gonna connect you with him and see if you get some business going with him. And it happened, man. And, you know, I've been blessed enough to be able to be in the business now for 8 years. So.
And man, this is all.
Yeah.
This is all beginning with a tweet.
Yeah, a tweet, man.
It's crazy.
Social media is huge. As I've been, you know, learning how to be more influential on social media, we really have a real fair chance, you know, social media wise. We just got to figure out our lane and figure out how do we brand ourselves, you know what I mean? And I think from the Twitter aspect, I was nobody on Twitter. If you go back and look at my tweets, I was talking crazy. I was ruthless. Mm-hmm. You know, I was probably saying rap songs, you know, lyrics, you know, doing what a kid's supposed to do, but well, a kid does, but just the opportunity for him to be able to take a liking to me via Twitter and giving me the opportunity when he really didn't have to, I just think that was just, you know, it was all God at the end of the day.
Right.
So.
Right. But it's crazy where relationships can take you.
Yeah.
In this particular instance, you know, that actually being kinship. But I think that the principle of that is just, man, it's relationships.
Yep.
You know, where you are, who you know, what you know. You know what I'm saying? It does tie in together. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that we all should tap into. Yeah. But diving more into relationships, man, and you have an impeccable resume that probably not too many people know about. Man, Joe Dumars, obviously you mentioned Draymond, you know, going to what was it, Brazil, the Olympics.
Brazil for the Olympics,
you know, even starting your own company yourself, you know, All in One Sports. I mean, the list can go on. Mm-hmm. You know, MTSU graduate, you know what I'm saying? MTSU got some great things going on. Yeah. Man, the list can go on. Man, just kind of give us some insight on your journey. Yeah. I guess kind of post, you know, how you got your feet wet and into the game. You know, just kind of give us some insight on just, man, I don't even know what to describe it, man, because I'm trying to do this interview, but I'm a fan.
Yeah,
you feel
I
what I'm saying?
That, yeah.
I'm spectating as well, but just kind of give us some insight on that.
Yeah, I just think, you know, one, you know, just being from Nashville, man, I think they rule us out, you know, from the beginning. You know what I mean? Hey, you're not going to be able to do this, or you're not going to be able to do this, or you can't be this person, or you're never going to go pro. You know, I never had dreams of playing sports or playing in the NBA. I knew I didn't work hard enough. You know what I mean? Right. I played in AAU. I played with the Tennessee Thunder at the time, you know, and I just knew it was just a hobby. My mom just wanted to put us in sports and just say, hey, whatever y'all figure out, something's got to pay for college. You know what I mean? So I use sports as an outlet for me to get college paid for. You know what I mean? I knew my mom didn't have the money to, you know, pay for schooling. So it was like, yeah, you can use sports, you know, and I think from that aspect of things, man, it just, what I went through at a younger age helped me, you know, get to where I'm at to this day, as far as learning how to communicate. You know what I mean? Like, I think communication has been the biggest thing, you know, to my career. You know, I ain't the best communicator, but I know how to get my point across. You know what I mean? And then the experience and the connections, like a lot of people don't know, the Joe Dumars connection came from Draymond from the get-go. You know what I mean? I just took that relationship and made it more than what it was. You know what I mean? And being able to work up under Joe Dumars at ISC, you know, as a scout, you know, I took that as like this Hall of Famer chose me to work with him.
Yeah, not to interrupt you, but sidebar kids, Joe Dumars, we talking Detroit Pistons, Bad Boys, Isaiah Thomas, you know, knocking off the Bulls. You know, that's who Jordan had to go through. You know, just to throw that out there.
Yeah, and I just never thought that, you know, that day would come where I would be able to be amongst these type of people, you know, because that was not a dream of mine. You know what I mean? Right. And to be able to be with a Lamar Woodley, you know, NFL, you know, championship. He was one of the highest paid defensive ends in the NFL at one point in time. You know, he signed, I think it was a $65 million deal, as a linebacker, coming from the University of Michigan. I just never thought that I would be able to be amongst a crowd like that. You know what I mean? And being able to do that, man, I just think that I've gained and learned so much for it, and I'm able to, deliver that to people, like yourselves and, to kids, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about for me. It's not what I've done and what I'm doing in the business, that how can other people get information from me and how can I deliver that information to them to help them achieve their dreams, and that's kind of, where it's at. Obviously, like you say, it's so much more that we can just talk so much about and the experiences, man. We can touch on Brazil, that experience, and I don't know if you're going to ask that question or not, but that experience, man, was a lifetime experience. I have never been out the country, you know what I mean, like at all.
Right.
I didn't even know what a 13-hour, 14-hour flight felt like, you know what I mean? So to do that in the manner that we did it in, it felt like we were VIP, which we was VIP. We was on a big Boeing plane, it was family, players up front, the girls and boys up front, coaching staff, the family in the back, you know what I mean? I'm sharing a seat with somebody I never met, it was like, yo, you on this plane, you going 14 hours to a third world country to be a part of an experience of a lifetime. I never dreamed of that. Like, I didn't even know what that was like. We get there and they got us stand on a boat, you know what I mean? Players on one boat, family on another boat. It's just me and Draymond's trainer, one of my good friends whose name is Travis Walton. It's just me and him. Man, we went through so much within 2 weeks of me and him getting to know each other, because we knew each other, but we never had a personal relationship. It's different when you talk to somebody on the phone, but when you stand with a person and they in your livelihood now, it's like stuff gets real. A lot of arguments, you know what I mean? Like it's just tough, man. But that experience, man, was a lifetime experience, and I seen so much. I seen, boys become men. I seen NBA players become, superstars. I seen so much information being given to guys like ourselves, you know what I mean? From, Melo, you had guys like KD that was there, I still got KD Olympic shoes size, 18. I don't even know how they ended up in my bag, but he is not getting those back. You know what I mean? Like, they was in there when we got back. I don't know how that happened, you know what I mean? But just seeing that whole experience, man, it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Yeah. So, and which that leads to my next point, we talk about ownership, and I think that's kind of a word that's kind of brewing in the communities of color and the Black community, African American community in particular. All in one sports.
Yeah. So the original name was All in One Consultant LLC. Basically, was a consultant management company prior to me, getting more involved into the sports segment of things, and so I ended up switching the name to All in One Sports. And with that brand, it was a brand. We had management, we had agency, we had marketing. It was kind of one of those brands that we put everything together in one, and that's how the name came about. But as I continue, the company was around for 5 years before I ended up transitioning and getting acquired by SIG Sports. And prior to that, I had a bunch of good tech friends and friends that was just always giving me information. And they was like, yo, man, we like your company, we like what you're doing, but what do you do best? You know what I mean? You can't have a company out here that does everything. Right. It's impossible. Right. If that's the case, everybody will be doing everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that always stuck with me as we continue to build the brand. I built the brand, I built the name for myself. I always wanted to do more. Draymond was a part of the brand, Benny Fowler was a part of the brand, Brandon Graham was a part of the brand, Frank Clark was a part of the brand. I ended up recruiting this kid, Drew Eubanks, who's with the San Antonio Spurs. Nobody even knew who that kid was. He was a part of the brand, and the list goes on and on. We was able to, negotiate a couple marketing deals. We probably secured within the first 3 years, we secured about $1.5 million worth of marketing deals. Okay. You know what I mean? And, that was the beginning of the company. You know what I mean? But I didn't know nothing. I started a company off the humbug of my cousin Lamar telling me like, yo, you need to get, legit out here. You're kind of moving around not so legit, you know what I mean? So when I created my LLC, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk about the business side of things. When I went to go create, the biggest thing that I did wrong was, and this is for the youth, like when you're starting a business, the biggest thing is understanding where to start your business at. I started my business in California. That was the wrong thing to do because the taxes.
Right.
You know what I mean? I should have did it in a state tax, non-tax state.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't know that. Nobody was able to tell me, you know what I mean? They didn't know. So once I understood, like, all right, I got this business, but I've started off because I've lost more money than I gained because of how I had things set up. You know what I mean? I couldn't, my CPA couldn't wipe everything away, you know what I mean, because of the protocols in California, you know what I mean? And then, you know, everybody wants to have a business until you start got to paying, you know, that business expense, you know what I mean? And it got tough, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it got tough, but I was able to build it, you know, and sustain it year in and year out. And I had a great team of about 5 individuals, man, and they really was dedicated to, you know, the grind. And we was able to, you know, successfully achieve some things along the way, and it was great, man.
Right. So I guess my next question would be, you know, in your youth, you know, being, I guess, kind of inbound, sort of speaking. You know, you being an athlete and, you know, you playing in the grassroots, high school, and beyond, and then, you know, now, you know, you're on this side of the game. Man, if you can, how do you think because at some point you're a recruiter yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much at college, but you're a recruiter yourself. Man, just the whole D1, I got to go to the NBA mentality.
Yeah.
You being on this side of the game, what is your insight, or how do you think that's affected, you know, the youth or the black community in particular?
Man, I think that's a really good question. I mean, both of y'all have played college basketball at a very, very high level. I played college basketball, but it wasn't at the level that you guys, you know, played on. But I think the biggest thing in the black community is that we have to be real with ourselves. You know what I mean? When we look on TV, we can be talented like these guys, but are we putting in the work like these guys? You know what I mean? That's a different type of work, whether it was your parent that had you in, you know, camps or whatever, or whether it was a coach that took a liking into you and said, hey, man, we're going to make you out of something, right? But nobody can make you out of anything unless you're willing to put the work in yourself. And I think that's where it starts at, you know, in the black culture, in the black community, is that understanding that things are, you know, you can see things with your eyes, you know what I mean? You can touch things with your hands. But are you willing to really put the work in to get to where that you're trying to get to?
Right.
A lot of people can't say that they really putting the work in. We've seen so many talented players come through that was like, yo, this kid got it. But when you look at it, he's not doing some of the things that he needs to do to really get there.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing in our community is just, we got to be real. The parents got to be real with the kids. The kids got to wake up and be real with themselves and understand, like, you know what, if I even got a chance, if I'm even in that 3%, I gotta bust my a little bit. I can't be out here just going through the motions just because I got a fan base. You know, what are you doing on those unseen hours is, you know, was what it's about. You know what I mean? Travis always says all the time, like, what you doing when ain't nobody looking at you? You know, we see what you do when everybody's viewing you, but when everybody's asleep and you the only one that's up and it's just you and that ball, are you really maximizing your craft? And I think it's a lot of people that can tell you, I didn't maximize my craft. You know what I mean? And not even on the sports side of things. Right. In business, you can say, I didn't maximize my craft. You know, I'm a proud supporter to say that I didn't maximize my craft, but I'm doing a better job at that. And I think to grow, you have to understand and be honest with yourself and say, there were some things along the way that I probably should have done that I didn't do because of I was just trying to go the shortcut route. And that happened to me. I'm a proud supporter to say, hey, I've done that. You know what I mean? But not too many people can sit here and tell you that I failed at some things. It happens. It's life. You know what I mean? So
Juice, man, what exactly goes into a sports contract? It's an investment.
Yeah.
I try to correct people on the college level when we talk about signing scholarships.
Yeah.
It's not a full ride. People throw around the term full ride.
Yeah.
You can get cut first semester.
Yeah.
You can get sent home after Christmas because you got to hold up your end.
Yeah.
So what exactly goes into sports contract?
And I think we could talk about college contracts, and obviously you're signing an agreement, but as far as on the NBA side, it's a little different because, you got cap space. You have to think about. You have to think about where the team is going. Mm-hmm. Are they looking to even, give you the deal that you're looking for because maybe they horrible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe they're looking to tank. Mm-hmm. We hear it all the time. Oh, this team is going to tank. Or this guy is going to trade. Look at the trade that just happened between Houston and Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Nobody expected that one to go down. Right. Not James going to Brooklyn. That had nothing to do with money. Mm-hmm. That just had to do with a person that didn't want to be in a location. So the contract is different for each and every player. Even from a rookie standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
You got standard contracts. Everything is through the NBA PA. I hate when people say, "Oh, we negotiated this crazy deal." Yeah, you may have negotiated some things in the deal. Mm-hmm. But everything is pretty much standard, and it's based off the cap space that the team has and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So, things of that nature. So, that's how that pretty much goes on the contract side.
Yeah.
And you have different types of contracts. You got athletes that sign shoe contracts. Mm-hmm. You got athletes that sign, marketing contracts. You got athletes that sign, different types of, deals, whether it's tech deals or. And teams can present things to you to, put you in the best situation if they're, if they want to do that. Right. It's some stuff with KD that took place when he got to the Bay that they was able to position for him to be a part of that is going to make him a lot of money, off the court. You know what I mean? Right. So it just really depends. You know what I mean? But anything that you sign can always be voided. You know what I mean? It's always a termination clause in everything.
Right.
It's a termination clause in life. One day we all gonna pass away, right? And
right.
At the end of the day, it's not about what I signed. It's about what I did. What I'm doing to impact the rest of the world. Right. And I think we can talk about the Kyrie situation right now, right? Everybody thinks Kyrie is tripping. What he got going on, but who knows? Maybe Kyrie feels that now basketball is not considered as a priority to me. Maybe speaking about the community and what's going on in the world, maybe I need to take that a little bit more serious because I did basketball.
Right.
Basketball has paid me a lot of money, but now it's time for me to sit down and, focus on the real, life and what's really going on, and that's speaking up for the black community.
Right.
Letting people understand that, hey, man, I'm an athlete, but I'm here for y'all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's not a lot of that. A lot of guys are scared to speak up about real life issues, because it's political.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, you just never know, man. I don't know why people are scared, but I understand why. We've seen it. You've seen guys speak up about something. The next thing you know, their contract is terminated because of how they felt. Mm-hmm. So it puts us back into a perspective of understanding that things can be terminated at any given time. All it takes is one incident. One wrong thing that you said to somebody, and these athletes they have to live in these types of models or a type of person that they should be. People don't understand they got real life traumas too. Mm-hmm. They come from real life situations, you know what I mean? And that's what the world don't see because they think, they're getting paid a lot of money to be this type of role model. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's just not like that.
Mm-hmm. While you speaking, man, I actually just thought of something. And I'm a firm believer in holding people accountable.
Yeah, for sure.
And at this point, I want to hold my people, our people accountable. It's, man, we once here, and I don't remember her name. I think it's a Fox News anchor.
Okay.
It was the whole, hey, KD and LeBron, y'all shut up and dribble.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was an uproar. We were really offended by that. You know what I'm saying? LeBron,
that was huge.
He's more than a basketball or he's more than an athlete, or which is the phrase he coined. KD is more than easy money sniper or number 35 on the basketball court. You know, that was we were enraged by that. But then you have this Kyrie situation, and now we're, hey, bro, you tripping? Just go out there and do your eight count dribble with
score.
a step back and score the ball. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we can't be hypocrites in a situation. You know what I'm saying? Where we want to be seen as, and this wasn't part of the the prompt, but it's like, you know, as far as, you know, Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying? We want to get out in the street and scream BLM and hold up fists and hold up signs and whoop-de-whoop. But we gotta execute that.
We got to.
Between you and I, between us and our people, between our communities. And I don't agree with now I'm a huge Kyrie fan. I don't agree with everything he's doing, but the scrutiny that he gets from the people that he's representing, the people that look like him, that bothers me.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. I mean, I think that's real. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, he's an individual, you know, and I got the chance to meet Kai, and, you know, and build a relationship with him during the Olympics, you know what I mean? And I know the type of person he is. And at the end of the day, life changes, people change. You read more. You start to feel like, oh, this is who I am as a purpose. You start to really try to find your purpose. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Right.
It's about finding my purpose. And maybe my purpose was to be an NBA player. But in that me playing basketball, I was supposed to deliver a message. And I think, and like I said, I don't know. I'm just looking at the outside in, or the outside in, and I'm just thinking that maybe, you know, he's starting to find who he really is as a purpose. You know, I was looking on ESPN where he came through with the, what is it called? The Sage, you know. Like, it's a reason on why he's doing that. He's tired of the energy that y'all are bringing to him. Like, what else do I got to prove? Yeah. Like, he's an NBA champion. I see people, I was looking at something the other day where Danny Green was coming out of the tunnel after the game, and one of the fans was like, "You're shooting horrible. Your percentage is horrible." And the first thing he says, "But I'm an NBA champion, though. So you're judging me off of me struggling because during COVID?" I'm surprised a lot of these NBA players are able to even play right now during COVID. You know what I mean? It's a lot. Family interaction, it's a lot of things, especially if you are a family-oriented person. Some of your older families can't be a part of what you got going on now because of COVID. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, like, you know, I think, you know, people are, if this pandemic hasn't done anything, it should help you find who you're supposed to be and who your purpose is throughout this whole process. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and which I think that, you know, ending on that, man, I think that kind of helps us transition to our next topic. Yeah. You know, we see, most of us as spectators, as viewers, as fans of the game, you know, we see Dame Dollar and Steph and LeBron and these guys. We see them go out and do their thing. You know, we see Chris Paul and his fits, you know, his league fits and stuff like that. You know, we see these nice houses and cars and material things. But what a lot of us or most of us don't see is that grimy side of the game. Yeah. That grimy side of the game. And I'm not even a fly on the wall still, but just kind of learning a little bit about that's increased my respect. Yeah. You know, for these athletes, you know, for these men and women, you know, who go out and entertain me. Yeah. You know, they deal with a lot of stuff, and I'm sure you can attest to that. You've seen it as well. Can you just kind of touch on that for us?
Like I tell people, man, the game is political. You know what I mean? So is the world. It's all politic based. You know what I mean? And I think these guys, man, the grimy part of it, from the agent standpoint, from my parents got paid for me to sign with this person, from coach told me I was gonna play, you know, 32 minutes. I've only played 18. Like, from, you know, having conversations with the GM and say you're gonna be our guy, and then being traded. You know what I mean? Like, it's so many different things that goes on behind closed doors that people don't, you know, understand. And that's the part, I think, from a professional standpoint, that's the part where people get, like, that's where the stress comes in at. Because you can be all for the organization that you're in, but your organization can make a decision that can affect you and the teammate that you knew that they wasn't supposed to make. And then it was like, how can I go out and play and trust you when you just did this, when you said that wasn't gonna happen? You know what I mean? So that's the real grimy side of it. You know what I mean? How can, as a kid, you know, I'm thinking pro and I know I'm a pro. It's set out for me to be a pro, but my parents and them are trying to work a deal to get me to sign with somebody, and I don't know nothing about it because I'm 18 years old. You know what I mean? Like, and then once I signed with them and I turned 21, I fired this person because I never had a personal connection with this person. But also I found out along the way that you paid my parents to get to me. You know, it's so much grimy stuff going on, you know, in this business, and I feel like those people at some point expire. You know what I mean? From a business standpoint. You see these guys come in, oh, this guy's at the top of the totem pole. But then when tables turn, it's like, yo, he's the lowest person now. What happened? He had all this experience. Yeah, because he probably was doing some shiesty business. You know what I mean? And one thing about me, what I've taken, you know, heed to is, you know, and just being honest with people and letting them know, like, yo, this is how I operate. You know, this is how I want to build, you know, my brand, and this what makes me happy every day. I can go to sleep knowing that at the end of the day, I done business the right way. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. It's about operating, you know, off good faith. You know, that's a real thing. People tell you, well, you signed this deal in good faith, or you agreed in good faith. Like, that's real. I mean, and that's how I operate with everything that I do, no matter who I come in contact with. If I'm gonna give you a conversation, that conversation's in good faith because I trusted in, you know, and I was trying to give you something that I think that you can take with you and take that to the next person. Because it's all about what can I give to you for you to give to the next generation. We look around now what's going on with all our youth. There's no schooling. You know, Metro is out of school. You know what I mean? Kids are playing sports. Some kids are not playing sports. You got kids on the streets, their parents working. You know, why is it like that? You know, there's no mentors. We're scared to talk to the younger kids because we think something, you know what I mean, is mentally wrong with them. That could be so, but we can't take everything that they look forward to doing away from them and expect them not to be in the streets. Right. You know what I mean? We've already set them up. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just all about, you know, operating in good faith and doing things the right way. And, you know, that's what one thing my mom taught me is about, hey, if you're gonna jump into this, you know, any business that you do, make sure that you own up to your word, you know, making sure that your word is your bond. If you tell somebody you're gonna do something, deliver on that. Yeah. You know, don't walk around here owing people, knowing that you owe somebody for something. You know, business happens, to where, hey, I can't pay you because the business is not operating the same no more. But on a personal deed, you owe me, just give it to me. Yeah. It's gonna make you a better man at the end of the day to know that you paid me compared to owing me. Right. And that's what it's about. And that's just kind of, you know, to shake up, you know, what we just discussed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, Juice, we're going to take a left turn here, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
And just get into a couple hot takes.
Yeah.
Man, like I said, you know, a decorative resume. Yeah. You know, you've been around some marquee stars in the game. Yeah. You've been around some championship caliber players and programs. You know, just kind of going back on the Draymond tip. Man, how was that Warriors atmosphere? Yeah. And like we said, you know, we see the championships, we see the types of players that had the coaching, the confetti, so to speak, and we've seen that stuff. But man, if you can give us something, kind of getting back into that grimy, that grind. Yeah. Give us a couple nuggets on that end.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in 2015 was, I think, that was the first championship that the Warriors have won, you know, in almost a decade or whatever. But I don't even think that I really realized what took place because you was just in it, you know what I mean? And I went through the grind of it, you know what I mean? Like, you're talking about somebody that was with Draymond I was living with him, you know, from waking him up in the morning to driving them to, you know, practice, to going into the practice facility while they practice or watching them practice, you know, leaving, going home, getting something to eat, coming back to the gym and being in the gym to, you know, 12 a.m. in the morning. You know what I mean? I was a part of that whole grind, you know, and that was 3 years of work, you know, because this was an individual that felt at the time, I'm here but they ain't really feeling me. You know what I mean? And when you get an opportunity to get in and you got that edge of knowing like I'm here, but they not feeling me, that grind different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was me, him, and Trav. I mean, literally, dog, countless hours every day. You know, I always used to ask Dre after they won that first 2015 championship. Like I say, I was just there. You know, I would just feel like I was working. We was just, you know, we didn't know what was going on until playoffs hit. And we like, yo, we looking around, we like, yo, this is real. Like, we a part of something right now. You know, you got camera, we flying to city, like, you seeing fans at hotels. Hotels was uncomfortable because you got people booking out the hotels. You got fans when we get off the bus. You know, we had the opportunity to fly on the team plane, which was I feel like a once in a lifetime experience again. And we were flying from city to city. You know what I mean? At that point in time, Dre was like, "Yo, we got to get in this gym. You know what I mean? The job ain't done. We can party later." You know, so just seeing that, man, and seeing what went into that, you know, from a Steph point of view, from a Clay point of view, you know what I mean? You know, they had some good vets at the time. People didn't realize those vets really shaped that organization. You know, without those vets, I don't think they could have made it, because the times where the youngness, you know, in the individual, as far as Steph, Clay, and Dre, would start to deflate, you had the vets that was able to come and pump some more air into you. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's all right, bro. We gonna get them on the next one. You know what I mean? Sean Livingston, David West, Barbosa. You know, those guys, dog. They don't make those type of guys in the league no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. You got a couple of them, but I don't think like those guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? And man, from the parade to the champagne being popped in the locker room to, you know, man, it was just unreal. You know what I mean? In 2015, like I say, I'm a prime example of, I was just living in it. I didn't take it serious until coming out of 2015 when we left Vegas from partying. I was like, yo, you was just a part of something that one day when people rewind the tapes, you gonna be in that mix. You know what I mean? I always wondered, how did I present myself? Right. That's what I looked at when I looked at it. How did I present myself? You know, that's what I was looking at. So come 2016, that's when I changed my whole image, because I knew all the attention was on us. Anytime we stepped into the arena, cameras was going. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a player, but I had cameras on me. Yeah. Oh, that's Draymond's guy. You know, everybody knew that. And so I had to look presentable. You know, and Dre really wasn't telling me like, yo, you got to switch up the way. I had to do that on my own, you know, and then just watching Steph, man, like I tell people all the time, like, Steph is different. Like, he's different. You know, Deion Waiters said all the time, he's different. Like, that's true. Like, man, like, this dude, the way he prepares for the game is just unreal. The way what he's been able to do to the game is just unreal. And I know that every point guard has a different. Kyrie's different. Yeah. You know what I mean? But man, you know, and Clay is a different, you know, they just got a different mix over there, man. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Yeah. You got Draymond as a guy who's coming from a winning program. He's won all his life. Yeah. You got Steph coming in who struggled with in the beginning probably identity of who do I want to be as a player. And then you got Clay, who is a person who's would be considered as a square person. Right. Because he's like, yo, I don't care. I just want to hoop. You know what I mean? So to put that type of dynamic together and to get what you got out of them, man, it's amazing. You know what I mean? And I think it took a group effort. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, then we fast forward to the second championships. I think that's when people realize, like, yo, we here to stay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then you get KD in, right? The whole recruitment of KD, you know, and then obviously Draymond getting paid, you know what I mean? Just seeing that was on a whole different level. You know, I remember me and him being in the hotel and the Warriors were negotiating his deal. You know, we was talking to BJ at the time and we just listening to BJ, and I'm listening to Draymond. We're in the hotel. He's like, no, I want more. And I remember having a conversation with Day and was like, you know, what if we put this report out saying that you're leaving or something, you know? And then BJ came back with the same thing, like, yo, let's do that. Next thing you know, I think Mark Spears, it was either Mark Spears or, it was Mark Spears that dropped the story. Yeah. Draymond's considering leaving the Warriors. Dude, I'd never seen a phone ring so fast in my life from Bob Myers. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, Bob called this man right away. Hey, man, no, you need to meet with me. And I can't even remember the hotel we meet, but we go over there. him and Draymond talk like, yo, this is what it's gonna take. All right, man, let's get it done. Deal done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that was the first time where I seen, a player technically almost negotiate his own deal. Because this was just Bob and Dre and myself. Dre said, yo, BJ told you what we want, that's what I want. Obviously, BJ threw a number out there, but Dre came in and said, nah, this is what I want. If not, I'm out. You know what I mean? So being able to see that, and obviously, we didn't know anything about deal flow. We just knew, like, shit, you got an opportunity to make a lot of money right now.
Yeah.
What we gonna do? You know what I mean? So just been a part of that whole experience, man. And, like I say, seeing KD come in and watch the whole, when he came in, it was a culture shift. You know what I mean? From you already had the big three. You know what I mean? Now you add an extra piece. Now you got the big four. And so he come with his own entourage, his own ego, his own, whatever he had with him. You know what I mean? So for an organization, I knew that was hard, because I'm just here.
Right.
I'm just looking at it, seeing how they have to cater to not 3 superstars, but 4.
Right.
Now you got more people on the ground doing this, doing that, doing this, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I just knew, once these guys got that first one out the way, the rest was going to be a piece of cake because they knew they had figured it out. That bringing KD on board was just like, that whole ride was like, we get there, it's over. Yeah. We just got to get there. You know what I mean? Right. So, I mean, the way that they operate, less practicing, more fun. The road trips was more funner. You know what I mean? It was more partying involved. Like, it was just like, it was like rock stars, man.
Yeah.
Like, when people talk about the MJ doc, I know when they do that Warriors doc, they gonna realize, like, yo, this was, we might not was as hardcore as they was, right, but we was kicking it, and it was fun. And, it just, for me, it was more so an opportunity to brand myself while being a part of a national brand. Right. And I think when people look back at, at that documentary 10 years from now or 15 years from now, you're going to be able to see the adaptation that I had because I'm going to be a part of it. Right. The cameras was on. You know what I mean? I know they was on. Made sure they was on when I walked up in that thing. You know what I mean? I made sure they going to see juice. You know what I mean? Because that's how I looked at it, man. Right. I looked at it as an opportunity for myself. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how that was, man. Great experience, though.
That's what's up, man. And just how that concluded, man, just kind of, if you will, man, I remember, obviously KD, he chose to leave OKC and join in the Warriors, who had come back from a 3-1, series. Mm-hmm. If you can't beat them, join them. Yeah. And then he got there, and then they won. Yeah. KD now KD's in a mix of those, GOAT figures with rings and things like that. And then it all of a sudden took a turn. Yeah. Him and Draymond, who you would think, it just seemed like those guys had chemistry or a relationship on and off the floor. Yeah. And then obviously you Steph, and you got Clay, and then just, man, it was just like not only the perfect basketball team to watch, because those guys moved the ball and they played the right way, but it was just the perfect organization of, like you said, a group effort and a group of guys that, man, they just mesh, and it's just happening. It's organic. Nothing is forced. And then all of a sudden, the whole Draymond and KD collide, or them clashing. Kind of speak on that.
Yeah, I kind of touch on it a little bit. I think, throughout that whole year, I think it was a lot of tension, not just through KD and Dre, but I just think throughout the whole organization. It was a little debate about K leaving in the beginning of the year anyway. This is my last season. I'm done with y'all. You know what I mean? So I think the tension was there throughout the year. And, to K's extent, K never had told the media that I'm leaving. Let's get through the year first. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people just wanted to know that, if you're going to leave, just say that. Mm-hmm. So as media, they can shut that part of the question down instead of you going to media every day, hey, K, what you going to do at the end of the year? I refuse to answer. I'm not going to say nothing. So I think, that tension ended up boiling up to, that LA, I think they was playing against the LA Clippers that night, you know what I mean? And I think, you had the tension, you had the emotionalness of, individuals. And I think you had the delivery. And I think that's where I think as in our community, the delivery is very important in how you communicate with somebody. And I think the delivery and the communication was just off. And at that timing, it was so much tension that it ended up being a blow up. Right. You know what I mean? And once that once it blew up, you know what I mean? It was no turning back because so many people were watching. If something like that was to happen in practice, it's okay. It's amongst the team.
Right.
But it happened when the whole world was watching. And I think that's, you know, when you're able to go home and sleep at night, you go look at that and say, I was real live embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like, in front of the whole entire world. That was a big game that night. You know what I mean? And you seen it. You seen tension boiling. K would probably come down and he might have an open shot. He may want to pass. He may pass it instead of shooting the ball.
Right.
You know, Dre was open and he felt like he deserved the ball at that time, but it was just, you know, it was just so much going on leading up into that point, and that's what I think that really caused the ruckus. And I think at the end of the day, this is where media creates, you know, reasonings, right? And the media blew that out of proportion, you know, and everything else that was around it, you know, and it just got bad from there. And I think, you know, from that point on, it just was never no get back because you had two dominant individuals that was at one point ready to take each other's head off.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just can't come back from that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think mutually, I think the respect is there between both of them. But I just don't think that, you know, at that point in time, I think K knew, like, yeah, it's time for me to roll. You know, it's time for me to go, and I've already did what I came here to do. I don't think he ever came to the Warriors to stay there for the rest of his career. I think it was a business move.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
People don't understand. You have to treat basketball when you're making so much money to figure out how I can make business out of it.
Right.
And I think for him, it was an opportunity, one, to solidify my career and who I am as a person and as a player. Two, I'm going to tech capital of the U.S. Why not go there and disrupt and be a part of some stuff that can, you know, take care of my family after I'm done. And so I think that's, and he probably would never say this, but I think that's what it was used for, you know. And they did what they did, and now they in Brooklyn, and you know, obviously he's been hurt coming off the injury, obviously with the Warriors and stuff like that. But I just think all that build up, you know, caused the ruckus of what took place.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't even imagine being a fly on the wall, and you. Like you said, man, you having footprints within the mix of all of that.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, man. I know that, you know, as you say, man, I just can't even imagine, bro. I know you're proud of yourself, man. I know you've made, you know, your family proud, your mom proud.
And like when you say, and I don't mean to cut you off, just kind of rambling, but when you say fly on the wall, I feel like my first couple of years I was a fly on the wall, you know, because I was big on that. I was a person that would just do my job and go to the crib and just be isolated with Dre, you know. But also I would listen. I would have conversations with, you know, Coach Kerr separately. You know what I mean? I would talk to Bob Myers separately. You know what I mean? Especially around that time, you know, these guys will be reaching out to me. You know, Juice, how we do this? How we supposed to operate with Dre? Because at that point in time, people didn't really know how to operate. It's just like you draft a kid, but you don't know the background. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me you can get to know a kid's background in a year. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. Right. College coaches don't know kids' background. Yeah, you can go sit in the living room with him and say, hey, his living arrangements is messed up, but you don't know me. You just recruited me to come and play at your establishment. Mm-hmm. But technically you don't really know anything about me. And I think a lot of times that hurts a lot of individuals, because when the coach says something to you or gets on to you, that's the first thing. You don't know me. That's the first thing we revert back to. You don't know who I am. You ain't walked a step in my shoes. And I think, you know, from when I used to talk to, you know, Coach Kerr a lot of times, his thing was, I'm trying to see who Draymond is and how I need to communicate with him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I probably still got those conversations on my phone too. You know what I mean? Because I kept everything. Because to me, those are like memories to me. I can always go revert back to that in a couple years. If hey coach, you may need to do a deep dive. You might need to take this kid out to eat. This kid may learn differently. We all learn different ways. I can't even remember what they called the type of learning, but I was a visual learner. I had to see stuff. Some people can't even, they don't even need to see nothing, but they got it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I just think that's how it is sometimes, man. But that experience, man, was, like I say, I'm thankful, I'm grateful for it, and to be able to be a part of it, I'm able to share my experience, to you guys, and hopefully you take something out of that and you able to give that to the next person. I know y'all into coaching or whatever, so hopefully you're able to take that, but it takes a lot of work to get there. You know what I mean? Like, kids walk around, I want this, I want to make it. But you can look at a kid and say if they really want to make it. You can tell, I'm at a point now where I look at myself as one day I'll be a top scout, as I continue to grow in the business. I want to, one day be in the front office somewhere, but I can look at a kid and say, man, this kid ain't got it. I don't know what y'all seeing. He might make it, but it ain't about making it. It's about staying in, longevity of it. It's a lot of kids that make it there. Right. Oh, yeah, he was talented. He went to this top school, but, yeah, he only played 2 years. That's not a career. Career is something you do, to me, over 5 years. Right. You know what I mean? Like, not 2 years. I've been in the business 8 years. I made a career out of this business. You know what I mean? I want to continue to make a career out of this business. And, yeah, man, that's what it's about to me.
Yeah. Just you mentioned a lot about giving game, passing stuff down to the next generation, to the future sports agents maybe watching. What would be your words of advice?
Man, I would just say continue to learn. I had a lot of OGs that was able to give me game, that took a liking to me, guys like Calvin Andrews, who just jumped over to Clutch Sports, you know what I mean? Joe Dumars, I learned a lot from BJ Armstrong. These are guys that, you look at and you say, these are icons. BJ Armstrong was with Jordan. Yeah. Joe Dumars played against Jordan. He had his own brand and, Detroit Bad Boys, Like, so being able to pick these guys' brain, Jerry West, I don't know how Jerry West took a liking to me, but I used to sit courtside with him when I would go for pregame, and me and him would just always have a conversation. You know what I mean? And it would be like, hey, whenever you want to talk to me, just call my phone. My wife will answer, but just ask for me. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that don't happen. We talking about the logo. You know what I mean? Like, I got this man's number, and I can call him, and his wife, hey, he's not here, or leave a voicemail, and he'll get back to me. Crazy. Like, this is stuff that I don't tell nobody, but this is the type of relationship that I built in the industry. You know what I mean? And, just being able to, like, I never looked at this as I never even viewed what I'm doing first off, but I never even looked at this as an opportunity to, like, boast and brag about it. I was always looking at it as, like, how do you take what you've been able to do and give it to the next person? People say they want to be coaches in the league. They want to be trainers in the league. And from Nashville, I'm in Nashville. I can help you. You just got to, extend. The olive branch is there. I've already extended to multiple people. But that just lets me know where a lot of people at. They say they want to do nothing, but they're not really willing to put in the work to really do it. Because it's possibility. It can happen. You don't have to just be training in Nashville. It can happen. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? Who can we connect you to? Maybe it's just a simple connection and you take it from there. But I connected you with somebody that was there. And that's been my biggest thing as far as doing what I've been able to do over the last 8 years, is that I want to be able to let people know that you can be in the game without dribbling the basketball. You know what I mean? It takes a little work. It takes a little uncomfortableness. It may take a situation like mine to get in. But once you in, you got to be able to get that information back to the young boy. I can't tell you how I got in because my experience was my experience, but I can tell you how to stay in. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at now. I tell people all the time, I can't tell you how I made it here. I can't. But I can tell you why I'm not going back to where I used to be. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. Yeah.
Whew. I think we're going to end it on that one, Juice, man. I think we're going maybe we can save a few of the gems, nuggets for,
it's cool,
for another
man.
go-around, man.
It's plenty of information out there for anybody that wants it. I know we was trying to, get a message across, and hopefully we got that message across.
Most definitely.
I'm welcome to come back whenever y'all want to. Sure. Hopefully, if something else exciting happens, but it's more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's more stories to be told.
Yeah. So. No, we definitely appreciate you, man.
For sure.
I mean, two things I like to do before we head out is one is just express gratitude, man. Just, me, being from Nashville, you being a guy that not just myself or J. Duke, but many of us can look up to, that we can aspire to be, not necessarily exactly what you do, but just the level of execution and intensity and focus and preparation, just everything that you put into where you are today. I think that can rub off to anybody in whatever choice of career or field they want to get in. So definitely appreciate you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And before we take it out, man, what can we mark Juice's words on?
Oh man, that's tough. All right, now it's making sense. Mark my words. Okay, man, that's kind of tough, man. I like to throw stuff out there, but I never like to really, stand on it.
Yeah.
I know they big on stand on your word and what you say, but if I had to say mark my words, I would say mark my words that one day I'll be working in the front office, man.
For sure.
That's what I would say, because that's a passion of mine. I feel like I can do it, and I don't know what role in the front office, but I feel like I belong there.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And if we had to mark my words on there, I'd put a stamp on that. So.
Yeah. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Mark my words. Mark his words. Make sure you subscribe and like to Ball All Day, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
What's going on, everybody? It's J. Duke.
My name is Mark Brown.
Hey, bro, come on, turn up, man. You gotta wake up, bro.
What's good, y'all? My name is Mark Brown.
Make sure y'all keep watching, man. We got great content on the way. Make sure y'all keep checking us out.